Hi, my name is Elizabeth Frost. I work for Department of Primary Industries based at Tocal College, and this is my sixth Tocal Beekeeping Field Day. Really happy to be joining you today. And normally I work as a technical specialist for honeybees with the Department of Primary Industries. My update today will be on DPI's Plan Bee research. That's Australia's National Honeybee Genetic Improvement Program, and an update in the context of the current Varroa emergency response and the Varroa incursion. So this changed our means of operation at Tocal from June of 2022 pretty substantially. So Varroa mite is one of the most damaging mites to affect the beekeeping industry globally, and Australia being one of the last strongholds that doesn't have it established as an endemic pest. And we certainly don't want it to become established either. So that's why the nation has this structure that comes into play when a Varroa incursion happens, which we're currently experiencing. So the National Honeybee Genetic Improvement Program has been going for a number of years now, and based at Tocal College is the centralized component of the breeding program. So there's a classic breeding program component that happens in most livestock industries, and beekeeping is no exception. So previous breeding programs have mostly been this classic centralized situation, which Tocal before the Varroa response was that for the National Honeybee Genetic Improvement Program. So supported by AgriFutures Australia, we've got funding for this program through the federal government, research partners on the right-hand side here who are helping us through the second phase of Plan B, and we've got funding from industry as well, so horticulture, agricultural industries, and the beekeeping industry. So from the 22nd of June 2022, we were notified of Varroa mite incursion found by our National Honeybee Pest and Surveillance Officer in a sentinel hive, and from there we all saw the story unfold as surveillance crews went out and delimited, or what's known as found the extent of the spread of Varroa over time. So we played a bit of catch up. So early days, it looked like things are moving pretty fast, but basically we were just catching up to the spread that had been happening unawares. So for this series of images here, what you can see is in the map that shows us our eradication zones in the red and the surveillance zones in the purple. And then most of the state of New South Wales is a blue zone. So general biosecurity is the blue zone. So no mites present, no mites detected in either the blue or the purple zones. And those red zones, the eradication zones, mites have been detected in the middle of those circles. So you can kind of see southwest of Muswellbrook here, out at Denman, there would have been detection in the center here, and then from that central point, radius of 10 kilometers out from that central point at Denman, at Jerry's Plains, at Stanhope, at Wards River, and Bulladila on the outskirts here. So most of our detections are in the greater Newcastle area, around the and the airport, and that's why we've got a lot of these overlapping circles. And the map here has a location marked, and that's where Tocal Ag College unfortunately finds itself. So definitely within a red eradication zone. So like all other beekeepers in the eradication zones, we've had our hives euthanized as is part of the national plan for Varroa incursion response. The images you're seeing on the left, those are for context and scale. So we've got different life stages of the Varroa mite here. The larger mite, this younger stage adult, and the exoskeleton is starting to harden, and mature adult females. So these are all females here. And the male is the smaller of the mite, which never emerges from the worker bee brood cell. So as a number of other presenters probably will mention, briefly, Varroa is a parasite of honeybees. It evolved with the Asian honeybee Apis cerana, and at one stage or another, switched hosts and became predominantly a feeder on Apis mellifera, our western honeybee. That's where it concerns us. So the mite will inhabit brood cells that are just about to be capped. So a female mite will smell different cues that the brood is putting off, which indicates to the mite, okay, this is going to be capped soon. So I'll go crawl down in that worker jelly until the cell is capped by worker bees, and then she'll start laying eggs. The males that emerge will mate with their sisters, and then when that worker bee emerges from the cell, so will any female mites that are potentially pregnant and establish and reproduce in subsequent worker brood. The picture on the bottom just has a female Varroa mite for scale on a $2 coin, so roughly the size of a large pinhead or a large sesame seed. They're very difficult to see with the naked eye on honeybees because they predominantly, when they're on an adult bee walking around, predominantly located on the underside of the abdomen, really tucked away under some abdominal segments, so only about kind of half of the mite showing out of those abdominal segments. So as you can see from this map, there is understood containment area surrounding the different infected hives, or infested hives, I should say, that have Varroa, and the response is working into those zones, eradicating hives, now focusing in on the greater Newcastle zone. So National Honeybee Genetic Improvement Program used to look like this, selecting queens for our top 5 traits: honey production, good temperament, low or no chalk brood, good brood pattern, and cleanly box, so not a lot of debris on the bottom board, low European foul brood, if any. And so we had been selecting for all those things, and unfortunately we've had to wrap up the reference population at TOCAL because it did land in the red eradication zone. So previously, last measurements we took, I weighed all of the hives before winter, and we weighed all the hives again at the end of winter and looked at brood patterns. So trying to inform our knowledge about those overwintering and spring buildup traits. These hives had, I also collected worker bees at the entrance for some nosema counts, but those processing those samples obviously is on hold because DPI is all in on the Varroa response at the moment. So from this, unfortunately, we're in the red zone, so we've had to have all our hives eradicated. But it's not the end for Plan B, and it's certainly not the end for honeybee outcomes for industry from TOCAL College. Since the Varroa response in the early days, we've gone all in working with the response to develop the Varroa mite online training through TOCAL College. That's a free training course for any beekeeper to log in and complete. And it is a requirement for beekeepers looking to get a permit to move their hives. So it's a simple online learning module with a quiz at the end, and it's chock-a-block full of all of DPI's Varroa surveillance videos and resources on how you can do your alcohol washes to detect Varroa in your colonies. We also had education training coordinator Bianca Jiggins and Joe Hathaway from our schools program do a quick turnaround and get this schools program out for stages 3 and 4 on investigating Varroa. So not only are registered beekeepers skilling themselves up on how to identify and survey for Varroa, we're also getting school kids to learn about Varroa mite and how what it looks like, how to find it, and what great impacts it has in terms of ongoing management, increased labor costs, increased costs of pollination rental fees, and those flow-on effects that could have an effect on the cost of our food. So Plan B, we don't have the reference population of hives to manage presently or select within. We did manage to conserve some queens, so that's a process that commercial queen breeders who are in the eradication zone also have access to, and at least one other queen breeder has had that process available and taken up that opportunity. So we've had queens assessed and found to be varroa mite free. We've also assessed the colonies they've come out of through alcohol washing and through surveillance using miticide strips and sticky mats and finding no varroa mites. So their hives have since been euthanized, but the queens, a small number of queens have been conserved and are being surveyed for selection traits by commercial queen breeders. Sorry, there's a very friendly springtime bird in breeding territory wars outside my window right now. So what is Plan B doing now? We are continuing on the work that we've started with the program in the decentralized version. So we're working with Australian queen breeders currently, time of this recording, in Tasmania, New South Wales. Shortly we'll go to South Australia as well and deliver our breeding manual workshop. So on selection breeding for bees, teaching beekeepers how to do that themselves, and also going to different operations and collecting records and working out how to more efficiently get beekeepers to collect records in their operations so that they can really hone in on how to improve the traits they prefer or that would help their business get a greater bottom line. So, locale's breeding objective, for example, you need to think to yourself, well, what do I value in my beehive? What are, say, the top 3 things you value in your beehives, and how would I select for those? And also, what are the times of year that make sense for me to collect those, and do I need more labor, for example? If you do and you'd like to get in touch with Plan B, I've got my contact details at the end of this presentation. We've got a new starter technical officer, Emily Nordyke, who's coming from the US, involved previously in the Bee Informed Partnership. And she and I and our partner, Dr. Nadine Chapman from Sydney Uni, will be ramping up field visits to queen breeders for data collection of this nature. So get in touch with us, please. And the goal is to skill up those queen breeders around Australia to just help them do what they already intuitively know they want in their operations. So if it's honey production, temperament, low chalk brood, we want to get in touch with you and see if we can't work with either your existing records and how you collect information already. We can work with data that's collected in a specific way to your operation that works for you. We can type up data and get it to our University of New England partners at the Animal Genetics and Breeding Unit, and they will analyze it using their expertise as livestock geneticists and work with you and ask different questions of your records that maybe you'd never been able to have the time or maybe haven't had the right person to ask the questions to. So another way you can help the Aussie beekeeping industry is by taking our queen production survey. If you're a queen breeder or producer now, we'd love to hear from you because this is some key information that will really help the industry going forward if we are able to generate accurate numbers of queens that are produced in Australia year to year. And this is what that survey is about. So you can put your information in there anonymously. We're asking questions like how many naturally mated queens, artificially inseminated queens, nucleus hives, or package bees, for example, you sold in the domestic market, export market, what were the prices you sold for? All these questions help the Australian Honeybee Industry Council and other industry bodies to work out where are the needs and where are the gaps in this vital sector for the beekeeping industry. So I really recommend you have a look at this survey. We'll put it through other arenas as well. We're still ongoing managing Professional Beekeepers extension website, which has a bunch of associated socials. So it has a Facebook page, Twitter page, Instagram page. Any way you want to engage with us, we're out there. So please get in touch. You've got my email there. If you're a queen breeder and you're looking to collect more data or get in the ear of livestock geneticists for the year's worth of data you've collected, we can help with that. We can get data typed up for you and see what we can do to help your business. So thanks very much, everybody, and hope you enjoy the rest of the talk today.